You know, when we look up at the moon, we see this incredible symbol of human achievement, right? We think of flags, footprints, maybe some rovers they left behind. But it's also something else, something most people have no idea about. It's a final resting place, a solitary grave, sitting in the silent dust of another world.
Okay, so we all know this part of the story. 12 astronauts, starting with Neil Armstrong, made that unbelievable journey. They walked on the surface, did their thing, and came back as heroes. It's like a core memory for humanity.
But hold on, if all 12 came back, then who is the one man that stayed? Who got a final one-way ticket to the moon? Well, that is one heck of a story.
All right, let's really get into this. How is it even possible that there's a human grave on the moon? And why is this not something everybody talks about?
Yeah, we're not talking about a piece of forgotten equipment or a flag. This is something deeply personal. The moon, our greatest symbol of reaching for the stars, is also home to the most remote cemetery in existence. And its population is just one.
So who is this person? Who is the man who holds the singular honor of having an eternal celestial resting place? His name was Eugene Shoemaker. And Gene wasn't just some space enthusiast. He was a legend. I mean, we're talking about the founding father of planetary science. He basically invented the field, this idea of blending geology with astronomy, to actually understand what planets and moons are really made of.
His work was just incredible. He's the guy who trained the Apollo astronauts, teaching them how to be geologists on another world. But underneath all of that amazing work was this one powerful personal dream. More than anything, Eugene Shoemaker wanted to walk on the moon himself.
And this is where the story gets really poignant. His dream was so close. He could practically feel the moon dust through the men he was training, but for him, it would always be just out of reach.
This was the great, tragic irony of his life. His calling was to explore other worlds. He was literally one of the most qualified people on the planet to do it, but he had this barrier. He was medically rejected from the astronaut corps. So he trained the men who would live out his dream, while a health condition, Addison's disease, kept him grounded right here on Earth. Can you even imagine that?
Sadly, Eugene Shoemaker passed away in a car accident in 1997, and his colleagues and friends at NASA, they knew they had to honor him. But, you know, a simple plaque on Earth just didn't seem right for a man who basically mapped the heavens. So they came up with a tribute that was totally unique.
And this wasn't some last-minute idea. It was a deliberate, heartfelt promise. A way for NASA to say thank you to one of its absolute greatest minds. They decided they were finally going to get Gene to the moon.
So, on this day, January 6th, 1998, a spacecraft stood ready on the launch pad, pointed at the moon. But this one was carrying a very special passenger on the start of his final journey.
So here's how they kept that promise. They carefully sealed his ashes in a small polycarbonate capsule. Then, they wrapped that capsule in brass foil, and get this, they inscribed it with a beautiful quote from Romeo and Juliet. This tiny memorial was then attached to the Lunar Prospector probe, ready for launch.
For over a year, the Lunar Prospector did its job. It orbited the moon, mapping the surface, hunting for water ice. But its mission had one final, unwritten objective.
So the probe sent back tons of invaluable data. Its operational life was coming to an end. It was low on fuel, its main job was done. But its journey, it wasn't quite over yet.
In its very last moments, the probe got a new command from Mission Control. And this command, it wasn't about science, it was about sentiment. It was an order to deliver Eugene Shoemaker to his final destination.
So on July 31st, 1999, NASA engineers guided the Lunar Prospector on a deliberate collision course. It plummeted out of orbit and slammed right into a permanently shadowed crater near the moon's South Pole.
And with that one final impact, his ashes scattered across the lunar soil. The man who taught astronauts how to explore the moon had finally arrived. In death, he achieved the dream that was denied to him his whole life. He became a permanent part of the world he dedicated everything to understand.
So the next time you look up at that bright disk in the night sky, just remember it's more than a rock. It's a landmark of human exploration, and it's a tombstone. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Our legacies are the stories we leave behind, and Eugene Shoemaker's story is literally written in the stars.